if I was to release those tapes, the world would shut down. Okay? If I showed one of these tapes,
So
I'm telling you right now, the whole music industry and Hollywood, it would just grind down like this. They're all going to start pointing at each other like this, and it's going to be bad.
Oh, it's going to get bad, all right. Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. I'm Andy Signor, and there's been a lot of talk about this alleged memoir from Kim Porter. Her family is now deeming that it's fake. Diddy's own lawyer saying it's shameless, it's a scam. Amazon has actually pulled it because of Sean Combs' kids saying that it's fake. But now the author has gone and broken his silence and done an interview with the Art of the Dialogue. And it's pretty damning, guys. It's pretty fascinating. Now, look, I'd love to get this guy on the show. We are trying our best. This is the author. His name is Chris Todd, and he's here talking about a lot. We're going to go through some of these clips, and we're going to break this down even further in our live later today. There's also Jaguar White right out there doing a lot of stuff. We got so many updates, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell for all alerts. Smash that all so you get notified. And when you get notified, hit that like and leave a comment down below. Helps get these videos in the algorithm, and it's important we get this stuff out there. Now, do I believe this guy? I don't know what to believe, but man, Art of the Dialogue, the guy who's interviewing here does not. He gets extremely defensive. It's kind of a hard watch. I'd love to have Chris on, and we're reaching out to him. Chris, come on the show. I want to play some of these clips, though, so you can get a gauge of what you think about this guy and is the author of this book. Does he sound legit? Here's some clips. Here's Will and Jada mentioned.
can you explain how the alleged memoir portrays the nature of Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy? Was an open relationship mentioned in the book verified by any source close to them?
About their sex life?
An open relationship.
Means the sex life. Yes, we have sources, and multiple sources said they had an open relationship, yes. She says it too, so I'm going by what she's saying. She's saying they do.
And
that they have threesomes with multiple celebrities. They're listed in the book. So, yes. Am I going to go to Will Smith and Jada and ask them that? No, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Am I going to ask Jamie Foxx that?
Could you pull that up for me? I want to show you something.
Sure.
Now, again, you got to remember, this is a book that he got allegedly through a thumb drive, a USB drive stick that has not only Kim Porter's alleged diaries, but tapes and evidence. And he was given this after Kim's passing in a way to sort of get the truth out there by others. That's ultimately what this is about. Now, this guy's written some other books, other crime stories, etc., and that's ultimately, I guess, why he was selected. It's still a little confusing to me, but here's some more. Will Smith coming up again.
These are serious.
Leaked videos and explosive new claims have sent shockwaves through the industry, pushing the story of Diddy and his inner circle into even darker territory. What was once the legacy of a respected music mogul has now become a whirlwind of legal battles, allegations, and public scrutiny. The revelations keep coming, each more startling than the last, painting a picture of power, influence, and secrets unraveling in real time. As lawsuits pile up and fresh accusations surface, the narrative seems to thicken by the day, leaving both critics and fans glued to their screens, waiting for the next shocking twist. What began as whispers and speculation has turned into a full-blown spectacle, one that continues to dominate headlines and shake the very foundation of an empire.
Will Smith would say, can I say something? What do you think Will Smith would say if I called him up on his cell phone? I pull his number through a PI, right? And I call him up. And I go, when Kim was pregnant, she says she's on the phone with you. And that Sean's on the phone with you, Will. And that he's talking about this. Do you think he's going to admit that that really happened? Right now, with everything that's going on with Sean Combs and all these celebrities are silent right now, do you really think he's going to talk to me? Do you think he's going to admit to that?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, I'm just giving you...
I'm not. The reason why I'm saying this because...
Yeah, I don't think any of us expect that Will's going to answer that question, honestly.
The book alleges that Diddy kept a vault of tapes documenting his alleged sexual encounters. Was there any hard evidence that such a vault existed?
The sources say there was a vault that existed, yes. And some of the tapes were flown out of the country on a private jet.
I paused for effect because a vault did exist, according to his sources. And those tapes that were in the vault were flown to other countries.
That's from the sources directly, so I have to believe them.
And this
Not have to, but
right.
I have no way. How am I going to?
You see how that you run into that you have.
Do you expect me to go in his safe at his
Well,
house?
no.
I'm shot.
No. What I'm asking you is, like I said once again, because you're the guy who's spearheading this thing that allegedly comes from Kim. So me asking the questions, I'm like a can of spray paint.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know which wall to go, and tell them.
Right.
So that's the reason why I ask these questions, because I actually don't know. So, and so, like I said.
Now, fair, but he's a little aggressive in this. The commenters agreed. Let's get a little bit more into these tapes.
So you didn't, these are other things that you didn't include in why did you keep that out?
Correct, because I can't reveal everything at once. It's too shocking.
It's too shocking if he reveals everything he knows at once. Now, one could argue, oh, come on, dude, just put it all out there. But he's now alleging it's that bad, guys. And here's that quote from the beginning in full context.
If I was to release those tapes, the world would shut down. Okay? If I showed one of these tapes, I'm telling you right now, the whole music industry and Hollywood, it would just grind down like this. They're all going to start pointing at each other like this, and it's going to be bad. We've already set it up. We have multiple attorneys. We know how to do it. It's not my first rodeo. I solved the greatest murder case in history, 3 of them. I know how to do it. We're going to do it, but just going to come in pieces. And there's also ways we can, let's say, not censor it, but we can kind of soften it, right? Like the whole tape doesn't have to come out. I don't have all the tapes. There's other people that have.
In the most recent development, reports suggest that Diddy's lawyer was caught off guard by the emergence of new video footage connected to Kim Porter, his former partner and the mother of 4 of his children. The footage is believed to offer insight into previously undisclosed events, adding yet another layer of intrigue to an already escalating controversy. As speculation swirls, the video's contents could prove pivotal in reshaping the ongoing narrative surrounding Diddy and the growing legal storm around him.
Steph, thank you. We are following breaking news right now related to music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Major new allegations today of sexual assault and exploitation by Combs. For the first time, we are hearing about victims who say they were minors when they were allegedly assaulted by the music star. The youngest allegedly just 9 years old. The allegations were revealed today by attorneys representing more than 100 alleged victims who are preparing to sue. So let's bring in NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas right now. So Chloe, we know there is currently a press conference underway. We do have a live picture of that. Can you just walk us through these new allegations and tell us if we've heard from Combs yet?
So the individual that you see on the screen right now, that is an attorney based out of Houston, Texas, and his name is Tony Busby. He's been a part of some very well-known litigation over the years involving a BP oil spill, even involving the Astroworld Music Festival crisis where some individuals were killed during a stampede. So he has made headlines before, but this is pretty shocking. So he is claiming right now at this press conference that he has had over 3,000 individuals reach out to his law firm in Houston, Texas, that he and his team have been vetting these claims, that now they are representing over 120 accusers, and that over the next 30 days, they will begin to file different civil suits, that this is not a...
The book Kim's Lost Words quickly gained attention for its provocative claims and controversial content. As word spread about its release, many began to scrutinize its contents, with some believing it might hold the key to understanding the darker side of Diddy's empire. The allegations of abuse, coercion, and manipulation painted a disturbing picture of Porter's experiences, leading many to wonder whether these revelations could have been the catalyst for the legal storm surrounding Diddy. After its swift removal from Amazon, questions began to circulate about the book's true origins and why it was pulled so quickly. Was there something in those pages too dangerous to remain in public view? Could the stories and accusations contained within it be the untold truths that Diddy and others in his circle hoped to keep hidden? As more details trickle out, the public's curiosity only deepens, leaving many to wonder if this was just the beginning of a much larger, more complex story, one that might change the way the world views the music mogul and his empire.
They are going to continue to vet these allegations, but right now they feel strong about these. So he also said today that it's not just Combs that will be named as a defendant, that there will be other high-profile individuals, some household names. He says, quote, many powerful people, there are many dirty secrets. He says that his team has collected pictures, video, and that the allegations include violent sexual assault or rape, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, dissemination of video recordings, and sexual abuse of minors. So this was something else that they talked about, that there are 25 accusers who were allegedly minors at the time that these allegations took place starting in 1991, span all the way up over 2 decades. He also talks about where these individuals are from. He said that they hail from more than 25 states, New York, California, Florida. We know that Diddy had a residence in Miami, Georgia. We've reached out to Sean Combs' legal team for comment. They have not yet responded. Combs is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn while he is awaiting trial on the New York indictment, where he is charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. Now, I also just want to point out that they also claim that 62% of these individuals are identifying as an African American, and that they are evenly split between female accusers and male accusers, and Clay. So this is very interesting. And he said that look, I know that everybody expected me today or wanted me to name other high profile individuals. He says, I'm not going to do that today, but it will come at some point. He says that these names will shock you.
Wow. I mean, shocking details, to say the very least. And I'm sure just the start of what's to come.
At the very least, this is surely just the beginning of what's to come. As the court case intensified, Ariel Mitchell, the lawyer representing Courtney Burgess, a key witness in the case, took bold actions that brought even more attention to the unfolding drama. Burgess claimed to have obtained a draft of Kim Porter's purported memoir, a document that allegedly contains deeply unsettling accusations against Diddy. The text paints a harrowing portrait of a life marked by pain, manipulation, and possible criminal activity, depicting a narrative far darker than what was previously known. The memoir is not just a personal story. It appears to be a scathing account of the suffering and struggles that Porter endured in her time with Diddy. According to sources, it reveals troubling details that could change everything, shedding light on a life intertwined with control and secrecy. If the claims are true, it could be more than just a tale of heartbreak. It could expose an entire web of corruption and criminality, potentially implicating some of the most powerful figures in the entertainment world. The revelations from this draft, if they come to light, could prove to be explosive, altering the public's perception of Diddy and his empire forever.
Diddy Combs back in a New York City courtroom, we believe right about now, as he tries to appeal a judge's ruling, which denied him bail and sent him to jail as he awaits trial in the explosive sex trafficking and racketeering case against him. Prosecutors describe a large criminal ring orchestrated by Combs to sexually abuse dozens of women, drugging them, beating them, and recording sexual acts for at least 15 years. The move from the judge to hold the musician mogul in jail before his trial comes as prosecutors argue Combs, his massive wealth, makes him a flight risk. And they're also accusing him of witness tampering, trying to keep both them, witnesses, and his victims silent. Combs' team offered a $50 million bond agreement, with his attorney claiming Combs is, in his words, eminently trustworthy. The judge didn't buy it. It is a stunning fall from the height of pop culture. Combs, however, is pleading not guilty and has denied any wrongdoing. Let's bring in NBC's Chloe Malas for more. And Chloe, there are no phones, no electronics allowed in court.
We actually have breaking news. We have some breaking news right now. According to NBC News, just moments ago, I am reading off my phone right now, Sean Diddy Combs will not be released. And this is per the district attorney's office. So let me explain and silence my phone and break down what exactly that means, or else my kids will call me during this entire segment. So this basically means, Tom, that now Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars until this potentially goes to trial. Why do I say potentially? Even though his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, spoke to CNN last night and said that it is very unlikely that he would accept any sort of a plea deal. And we don't even know if a plea deal would even be on the table with these very extreme criminal charges of racketeering, transportation when it comes to prostitution and sex trafficking. We do know that this could be potentially a year behind bars. I was talking to NBC's legal analyst and correspondent Laura Jarrett earlier today. And, there's so many motions and, so much discovery to do, as you know, and you've covered things like this, I'm sure, that it takes a while to get ready for a big criminal trial like this when there's so many charges and so many different grand jury subpoenas and things like that. So currently, though, he is in jail, and that's what it is. Everybody asks me the difference between jail and prison. You go to prison.
Any concerns about taking on Diddy's formidable legal team were quickly dismissed by Ariel Mitchell, who has remained outspoken and unafraid in her approach. In a bold statement on live television, she said, "I keep two straps on me," alluding to her sense of security and readiness to face whatever comes her way. Her unwavering confidence and fearless stance have made her a key figure in this ongoing saga, with many now viewing her as a champion for those seeking justice for Kim Porter and others who Diddy is accused of harming. Mitchell has positioned herself as a relentless advocate, vowing to expose the truth, regardless of the powerful forces working against her. Her commitment to seeking justice has only grown stronger, especially now with Diddy facing legal troubles of his own. As it stands, Diddy is in jail in Brooklyn, a significant turn of events that has shifted the public's attention even further. The legal battle is far from over, but Mitchell's determination and bold approach have certainly made it clear that she intends to hold him accountable, no matter the obstacles.
Found guilty. Right now he's in jail, and he's in jail in Brooklyn. And this is one of the main issues that his legal team had was that.
However, that's not all. In a stunning revelation, Burgess shocked everyone when he disclosed that he had received 11 flash drives containing explicit material, including tapes involving several celebrities. He claims that these tapes are tied to events allegedly orchestrated by Diddy. According to Mitchell, these revelations have infuriated Diddy's legal team, as they appear to bolster the accusations made against him. The existence of such materials adds a troubling layer to the case, suggesting that there may be much more to the story than anyone initially anticipated. With these new developments, Diddy's legal troubles have taken an even darker turn, as the potential impact of the flash drives could change the course of the ongoing investigation. Mitchell has expressed her intention to use this evidence in court, further intensifying the already heated legal battle. The stakes have never been higher, and Diddy's team is reportedly on high alert, trying to counter the emerging evidence that could prove damaging to his defense.
This detention center in Brooklyn has seen suicides. It saw somebody get killed over the summer, food contamination, overcrowding, and they listed all of this in their filing to the judge. But clearly this federal judge was not persuaded, Tom. And so now that's it. He stays behind bars while he waits to have this tried in court.
Well, he is a celebrity. That's an understatement. He is an icon. And what are the chances that he gets any sort of preferential or royal treatment in the jail? Or, given the charges that are so significant and serious against him, is he going to be treated like any other inmate?
That's incredibly hard to say, right? When you see, and I don't want to generalize here, but when you do see, let's say, accusations against minors, which we don't see in this indictment. You can sometimes see some of these high-profile alleged criminals maybe put into solitary confinement. Will he be treated like any other inmate while he's in this detention center in Brooklyn? It's sort of left to be seen. I think that over the coming weeks, we'll see what happens and what types of motions that his team files if they feel as though he is under immediate threat, or if he gets, beat up in prison or in jail. See, I made that mistake. If he gets beat up in jail or if something like that happens, I guess maybe always things could change. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein, for example. Not that I want to compare the two, but Harvey Weinstein has been been treated in a medical ward because he has all of these medical issues, right? And so the judge had decided even today that he can still stay in the medical ward. So again, I think it's a case-by-case basis, and we have to see how this all plays out. But let's just put it this way. Sean Diddy Combs is a billionaire. He achieved billionaire status in 2022. He is not going to be happy, Tom, being in jail. And this is a far cry from his multi-million-dollar homes all across this country. So obviously it's a huge fall from grace for somebody that was such a pioneer in the music industry.
Yeah, but to your point, Chloe, if it were you or me, not suggesting either one of us would ever face these kinds of charges, but there is no way we'd be out on bail or bond, right? I mean, these are incredibly serious charges that could land him in prison for years and years and years, and they involve violence, not to mention racketeering.
The charges against Diddy paint a chilling picture of a man who allegedly used his wealth and power to exploit others, manipulate situations, and evade justice for years. Despite his defense team's attempts to secure house arrest with a $50 million bail package, Diddy remains in jail after 2 judges denied his bail requests. This marks only the beginning of his legal woes. Diddy is now facing a growing number of lawsuits, including serious allegations of racketeering, human trafficking, and more. These accusations, which span a range of criminal activities, paint a disturbing portrait of an individual who used his influence to operate outside the law. As the legal battles unfold, it's becoming increasingly clear that Diddy's empire may be built on a foundation of manipulation and secrecy, and the consequences could be far-reaching. The pressure is mounting, and with each new claim, his legal troubles seem more insurmountable.
The business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates.
These revelations are both depressing and unexpected for many who once looked up to Diddy as a trailblazer in the music business. For years, he was seen as an icon of success, power, and influence, someone who rose from humble beginnings to build an empire. However, the circumstances of this case have sparked intense discussions about accountability, justice, and the dark side of fame and influence. The accusations against him go beyond personal wrongdoing, suggesting a deeper, more systemic abuse of power. Allegations of manipulation, exploitation, and criminal activity point to a pattern of behavior that raises serious questions about how far individuals in positions of power will go to protect their interests. The unfolding case has forced many to reconsider the narratives surrounding public figures and has prompted a broader conversation about the dangerous dynamics that can exist behind the scenes in industries where fame and influence reign supreme.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that.
However, there are still many unanswered questions about the leaked video that reportedly shocked Diddy's lawyer. According to sources with insider knowledge, the video tells a visual story that appears to corroborate the allegations made in Kim Porter's purported memoir. If the authenticity of the video can be verified, it could be a game changer, potentially turning the tide in the legal battle against Diddy. The video's contents are said to provide crucial evidence that aligns with the disturbing claims of abuse, manipulation, and exploitation. If it proves to be legitimate, it would add another layer of credibility to the accusations, further complicating Diddy's legal situation. As the case develops, all eyes are now on whether this new piece of evidence will make its way into the courtroom and how it could shift the narrative in a way that might finally hold the mogul accountable for his actions.
Mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested by federal agents at a hotel here in New York City. Combs had been living there for several weeks. A person with knowledge of the investigation told NBC News. The arrest was based on a sealed indictment brought by the Southern District of New York. The contents of the indictment won't be known until later today, but Combs is facing a wave of lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault and misconduct. In March, federal investigators searched his homes in Miami and Los Angeles. Combs' attorney expressed disappointment with the arrest, saying his client had been cooperating with the investigation, adding, "He is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal."
As the story progresses, concerns are mounting about the wider ramifications of the accusations. There are growing questions about the potential number of additional victims who may have been affected by Diddy's alleged actions, and how far-reaching this case might be. The ongoing developments are forcing a re-evaluation of celebrity culture, specifically how power, wealth, and influence can enable unchecked behavior. The case has sparked a broader conversation about accountability within the entertainment industry and whether those at the top of the hierarchy can ever truly be held responsible for their actions. Perhaps the most pressing question remains whether Kim Porter, along with others who have allegedly suffered at the hands of powerful figures like Diddy, will ever see justice. As the legal battles continue to unfold, there is a palpable sense of urgency among those seeking answers and accountability. The outcome of this case could set a significant precedent for how celebrity abuse is handled, reshaping public attitudes toward the ways power dynamics in Hollywood and beyond are often left unchallenged.
Breaking news involving Sean Diddy Combs.
The music mogul is facing 5 new civil lawsuits, including one from a woman who alleges she was raped by Combs when she was 19 years old. Combs is currently being held in a detention center in New York City on separate federal criminal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty.
NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Melas joins us now with this exclusive reporting. So, Chloe, walk us through what we should know about these new lawsuits.
Hey there, guys. These are the first civil suits being filed by Texas-based attorney Tony Busby. He held that press conference not long ago in which he said he was representing dozens of accusers and that he would be naming some high-profile individuals besides Combs. These are the first. And so there were 5 suits filed today on behalf of 4 men and 2 women, all of which are remaining anonymous out of fear, according to these suits. And these allegations, they only name Combs and his businesses and actually a hotel and a department store as defendants. They don't name any other high-profile celebrities. And these complaints span from the years of 1995 all the way up to 2021. They accuse Combs of sexual assault and rape, and we've reached out to his team for comment and have not yet heard back. But I do want you to hear a little bit from my interview that I did just a little while ago with attorney Tony Busby.
There's an overarching theme here, as you probably can see, which is basically Sean Combs feels like he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants to do it. A lot of the conduct alleged is violent, and threats were made. And I think, but for the fact that Sean Combs was arrested and bail denied, these people would not have come forward.
Busby says he's going to be file other civil suits, and this is all coming as Combs is facing.
In a calculated move to silence critics and shield Diddy from further scrutiny, his legal team recently requested a gag order aimed at preventing the accuser's attorneys from speaking to the media. This bold attempt to control the narrative has only heightened the tension, as Diddy's team fights relentlessly to keep the spotlight on their defense. However, in the face of these efforts, Burgess remains unfazed. He continues to speak out, undeterred by the mounting pressure. With each public statement, Burgess offers crucial proof that challenges the narrative Diddy's legal team is trying to shape. His refusal to back down, despite the legal threats and attempts to muzzle him, has made him a central figure in the pursuit of justice. His unyielding determination is not only fueling the case but also intensifying the intrigue surrounding the situation. As the battle for control over the story escalates, it becomes clear that Burgess is not just fighting for himself, he is committed to exposing the truth, no matter the consequences.
Hey, I'm Hallie, and tonight we are learning in just the last few minutes that a federal judge is now refusing to grant Sean Diddy Combs bail. Instead, he's going straight to jail tonight after Diddy pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Want to show you some of these brand new court sketches coming into us, like literally in the last 90 seconds. This is Combs in court after prosecutors arrested him at a hotel in Manhattan. It's where he's apparently been living for weeks, according to what a person familiar with the move tells NBC News. All of it a tipping point now in that sprawling federal investigation into the superstar's alleged years of sex crimes dating back to 2009. As we're just getting in some new and deeply disturbing details about the allegations against him and what looks like a massive criminal operation, allegedly. At least 50 victims and witnesses so far. And at the center of it, these hours and days-long sex acts known as, in their words, freak-offs that Combs supposedly orchestrated to abuse his victims.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs. and he often electronically recorded them.
Prosecutors say Combs punched and kicked his victims to try to keep them under control. He'd also, they say, filled them up with drugs like ketamine and ecstasy for long periods of time, even using incriminating records to try to manipulate his victims. Prosecutors say they discovered this wide range of evidence against Combs in several raids. They found things, they say, like AR-15s, narcotics, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants. We should note here that an attorney for Combs says that he, I'm quoting here, will fight this with all of his energy. His team is already planning to appeal the bail ruling, meaning they will be back in court tomorrow, as Combs has, as we mentioned, pleaded not guilty. We've got team coverage, Laura Jarrett standing by with the legal analysis piece of it. But I want to start outside court with Julia Ainsley, because Julia, this went fairly late into the day. I know you've been at the courthouse as a judge, as we've just learned, is denying this request for bail. Explain why that is and what else we've learned today.
Yeah, that's right. We were in there for about 2 hours as the Justice Department from the Southern District of New York laid out their case, very similar to what you saw in the indictment, saying why he should not be released, because they say that he is a flight risk, he could leave the country, and also that he has a history of obstructing justice. They also pointed to how serious
the Diddy scandal is much more than just a legal dispute. It's a cultural reckoning that underscores the urgent need to challenge the structures that allow influential people to act with impunity. It serves as a stark reminder that those in positions of power cannot escape the law, no matter how much influence or wealth they have. The case highlights the systemic issues that protect the powerful from accountability, and it forces society to confront the dark realities of how fame and money can shield individuals from facing consequences for their actions. At its core, the scandal reveals the undeniable truth that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, will eventually surface. It challenges the notion that fame can offer immunity and exposes the cracks in the systems designed to protect those who seem untouchable. As this case continues to unfold, it will be a critical test of whether justice can truly be served, even for those who have spent years living above the law.
Previous allegations of sex trafficking like R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein, the judges also denied bail in that case. But his defense laid out a very lengthy rebuttal to all of that. We heard them say that this is different from Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly because there are no minors being alleged in the indictment here. They also say that these acts were consensual, and they point to victim number one, who's named over and over again, who they say is someone within a 10-year relationship with Combs that was toxic but consensual. They said that this person actually tried to sell this same story as book rights to Combs to try to get it out of the media's eye, but instead when he refused, then this civil lawsuit came up. But the judge ultimately said that he could not be released because he is a danger, he has a history of substance abuse and anger issues, and she really drilled down on the fact that after those civil allegations came out last November, he talked to multiple women who he knew during that period and who he apparently tried to change their narrative so they wouldn't go forward and continue testifying or being witnesses to some of these acts that were alleged in the civil complaint and then were again put in the indictment today. And so she said in order to keep that from happening and really to end sex trafficking, since that can happen behind closed doors, it was best to keep him detained without bond.
Julia, it is, I think for a lot of folks, they will find this stunning considering that Diddy, right, Sean Combs, has been previously one of the most successful music superstars in the world. Just a year ago, he was handed a key to New York City. Now here we are after months of this being out in the public, these allegations being made public, his denials. He's potentially facing 15 years to life in prison. What does the timeline look like here?
Well, we understand that tomorrow they'll try to appeal the judge's decision. His defense will do that tomorrow at 3:30. They'll meet again next week for a conference, and then perhaps we'll be looking at a trial early next year. But Hallie, I have to say what you said there was also striking. I mean, I watched him today sitting there very humbly in court in a black T-shirt, nodding along with his defense, otherwise just looking very stoic, straight ahead at the judge. It's hard to imagine this is the same man, but the timeline is also staggering. It's one thing to think, oh, that was something that happened a long time ago. But the prosecution today said that these acts, what they're calling sex trafficking and coercion, all continued up until this year, Hallie, and started as far back as 2009. So this was not a brief window.
Julia Ainsley live for us there outside court in New York. Can you just give a sense really quickly, Julia, before I let you go? Is it just a scene there? I mean, I have to imagine, given who Sean Combs is, it is just a crush of cameras, a crush of people.
It is. It's been really crowded today, and there have been people who've been driving by, sometimes screaming, "Free Diddy." Someone else stood up earlier and said Tupac would be ashamed of Diddy. It's been a lot of people, a lot of public interest here. I will say the court wasn't as crowded as I thought, but still nearly full, and also full of his friends and family.
Forward, Aaron. Whether through the pages of her purported memoir or the voices of those advocating for justice on her behalf, Kim Porter's story is shedding light on deep-rooted issues that demand attention. Her untimely death in 2018 left a profound void in the lives of her children and all those who knew her. Yet now, with these startling revelations, her legacy is evolving and taking on a new dimension. One that goes beyond her role as a mother and a partner to becoming a symbol of the fight for truth, justice, and accountability. In death, Kim Porter is influencing a larger conversation about power, control, and the untold stories of those whose voices were silenced. Her memory is now tied to a broader cultural movement, one that calls for the acknowledgement of abuses within the systems of fame and influence, and a renewed commitment to ensuring that justice prevails, no matter how long it takes.
On Diddy Combs' investigation, new surveillance video shows Combs being taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel last week. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Kotursky, is at the scene of his arrest. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Robin. This is the hotel where Sean Combs was arrested a week ago. You can now see how that arrest went down. This morning, watch how federal agents took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs. His lawyer said Combs had come to New York 2 weeks earlier with the intention of turning himself in. He did not expect the agents to be waiting at his hotel last Monday night.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in. 1, 2, 3.
A day earlier, Combs seen out and about in New York with his family, seemingly in good spirits. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. At the center of the case, this 2016 video obtained by CNN that depicts Combs attacking his then-girlfriend, the singer Cassie, and then dragging her back toward a hotel room. Federal prosecutors said the video is powerful evidence of how dangerous the hip-hop mogul could be to women, part of why 2 different federal judges denied him bail.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous, and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold, austere facility.
Combs, who lived in this $50 million Miami mansion, is now in an isolated unit of a federal jail in Brooklyn known for miserable conditions.
The special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3, staff members escorting them.
When Combs first arrived at jail, he was monitored for suicide. That's common for any high-profile inmate. But his attorney says Combs is not suicidal. Rather, guys, he's focused on defending himself. Guys.
All right, we'll see what happens going forward, Aaron.
The leaked clip and the lawsuits driven by the flash drives are not just isolated pieces of evidence. They are pivotal components of a much larger narrative. As this case unfolds, it will serve as a critical test for the court system, challenging the boundaries of justice and accountability. These revelations go beyond simple accusations. They shine a light on the complex interplay of power, fame, and influence, questioning the very structures that have allowed the powerful to act with impunity. This case has become a wake-up call for society at large, forcing a re-evaluation of how celebrity culture operates and how it often protects those at the top, regardless of their actions. For the entertainment industry, it's a moment of reckoning, an opportunity to confront the deep-rooted issues that have enabled abuse and exploitation to flourish behind the scenes. As the story continues to unfold, it will not only shape public opinion but could potentially redefine how justice is pursued in the face of immense power and influence. Clip 15. As Diddy confronts accusations that could permanently alter his reputation, the looming inquiries are raising questions that could reshape the public's perception of him. The truth, whether it will be fully revealed or remain obscured, hangs heavily over this case. Will the legal system, often seen as favorable to the powerful, truly be able to hold those at the top accountable? And, most crucially, will the victims, like Kim Porter, find the closure they deserve? There's no doubt that this narrative is far from finished. With each new development, it becomes clear that the fight for justice is only just beginning. As more information surfaces, the stakes rise, and the pressure mounts on both the legal system and the entertainment industry to face the truths they've long tried to suppress. What happens next will be pivotal, not only for those involved but for society as a whole, as it challenges the very foundations of celebrity culture, power, and accountability.
Tonight, 3 men accusing Sean Diddy Combs of rape and sexual assault, according to separate civil lawsuits filed Thursday. The suits allege Diddy plied them with doctored drinks, then attacked them while they were unconscious.
They were all very consistent, frighteningly consistent.
New York-based attorney Thomas Giffra represents the 3 anonymous accusers.
All 3 of these guys, same thing. They'd wake up and he'd be raping them.
Kind of difficult for me.
Tonight, one of the new accusers speaking exclusively to NBC News.
Can you explain to everyone why you don't want to reveal your identity?
Well, at the top of the list, it's definitely shameful and embarrassing.
In early 2020, he says he met with Combs at a hotel in Times Square, seeking payment for errand-type work he had completed for Diddy. He says the discussion was cordial and he had a drink.
Within 2 minutes, I started to feel like just very tired, very sleepy. Mind you, I'm not under the impression that I'm being drugged or anything like that.
He says he was so groggy that he laid down on the couch.
When I finally kind of came to, I could feel myself being humped, and I could feel I was penetrated. And I'm like, hey, what's... And the thing that sticks in my head today, the phrase that just rattles in my brain all the time is I'm almost done. Just stop moving. I'm almost finished.
In a statement to NBC News, Combs' lawyers said, "These complaints are full of lies. We will prove them false and seek sanctions against every unethical lawyer who filed fictional claims against him."
There are now more than a dozen civil cases that have been filed against Combs. He remains in jail awaiting trial on federal charges, including sex trafficking, and he is
Jay-Z fighting back against a rape accusation. His attorney filing a letter to the judge to dismiss the rape lawsuit against his client, citing an NBC News exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's story.
You should always advocate for yourself.
It comes after our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama who accuses Sean Diddy Combs and Sean Jay-Z Carter of raping her when she was 13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party. She says at the party, she spoke to musician Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo. It's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both raped her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. "I feel like I would remember that, and I don't," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said she stands by her statements. "I have made some mistakes," she said, in remembering what happened 24 years ago. "Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me." In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said, "This incident didn't happen. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory." A representative for Combs called the suit a shameless money grab.
Is any part of you scared coming out against such powerful people?
I'm scared of what could happen, but I'm more afraid of letting it eat me alive.